Hey everybody, my name is Jason Major, Sweaty Heroes, and today I just want to bring you a cool look at my stack of some comics from the bargain bin. These are comic books that are $1 or less, and it just had a sweaty hero time just getting a whole bundle of 50 comic books the other day at the comic store. Thought I'd show you a quick brief look, and then in the comments below, maybe you guys can share with me if what do you think? Did I get a good stack? So quickly, let's see what we've got. Action Comics Weekly number 616, which when Action Comics was a weekly title, and it was an anthology book with, in this case, Blackhawk and Superman as amongst other characters, including, it looks like Green Lantern, Nightwing, Black Canary, Wild Dog. So that's kind of cool. This is Jim Valentino was the artist of the original Guardians of the Galaxy from the 90s, and he created an image book called The Alliance, which looks like it's kind of in the same vein. An issue of Aliens, Colonial Marines. I like that cover. If you can see that, that's kind of cool. All Star Comics 80-page giant, which looks like it's the Justice Society of America. Marvel's Amazing High Adventure. I really like this series, actually. It's like an anthology series. I'm surprised it's not called Epic, but because Marvel had the Epic line for kind of stuff that was not superhero related in the 80s and 90s. This title is an anthology, so you can see like it kind of has like tales of like World War One, and this one has a comic book adaptation of the David and Goliath story, and other historical stories, not based on some based on real life, some not, some just historical stories. Kind of a fun anthology, like if you're interested in adventure stories. Atari Force #1. That's a great bargain. Come on, the artwork, Jerry Conway and Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. These are classic DC artists from the 80s, and I got #2 as well. And then we got Azrael 29 and 30, which has a crossover with Talia al Ghul, so that's kind of cool. I've never heard of this. Captain Johnner and the Aliens. It looks like it was some sort of Buck Rogers or Flash Gordon type comic book from the. I don't know if these are reprints, but this is from this title. Yeah, it says 1967, and then I'm not sure when this comic book came out. Probably in the 70s or 80s, and then DC's Chase, which is best described as DC's version of the X-Files, but in the DC universe. One of the Conan Dark Horse series. And then I also have Marvel's Conan the King, #50. I like that cover. DC Zampler, which actually probably was a free book, but oh well. I only paid 10 cents for this. And just an example of different comics that DC was doing in early 1980s. I thought that was kind of cool. This looks like something akin to Lassie. It's called A Dog of Flanders. It had a photo cover, so it's kind of like a Lassie-like movie that came out back in probably the 50s or 60s. I have an issue of Huckleberry Hound, which is the Hanna-Barbera cartoon. These are both Dell. This number actually says 1088, which is part of the Four Color series. There was a series called Four Color, which was a one-shot anthology series. Rather than putting new #1s on it, Dell just didn't care and just said number 1088. Imagine if Marvel or DC ever did that, eh? We have Detective Comics. This issue kind of cool because I remember getting this when I was younger. It has the Mud Pack, which was like the different clay faces. That's kind of cool. That's a cool story. DC's version of Doc Savage with Dennis O'Neil writing it, and one of the Kuberts, Adam and Andy Kubert, doing the artwork. So Doc Savage, a famous pulp character who's had many comic adaptations. Guns of the Dragon. Come on, look at that. Pterodactyls and pteranodons and flying World War One. It just I don't know what it is. I don't know. It says Guns of the Dragon, so it's like ninjas and dinosaurs. I'm assuming they're on like Dinosaur Island or one of these like, for islands that DC has where it's like dinosaurs and humans coexist. But this just looks like too ridiculous and cool. Hawk and Dove by Rob Liefeld and the miniseries. That's kind of neat. Fine. Hercules Unbound, which is DC's version of Hercules. I like that cover. It looks very Kirby-ish to me, but it's not. Hex, which is Jonah Hex, but set in the future. High Voltage, which is from a Blackout Comics, which I've never heard of before. Gem, Son of Saturn, which is a Martian Manhunter-like character. Again, I've never heard of some of these characters. Joni Thunder, which looks like a female version of Thunderbolt, which is another. I don't know if that's a Justice Society character or maybe one of the Charlton characters. Hit me up in the comments below and tell me. Mickey Mouse saves Mickey Mouse and Goofy explore energy. This looks cool. This looks like a cool find. Mickey Mouse teaching his science lessons. An issue of New Mutants right close to before the Cable came along. Night Force by Marv Wolfman and Gene Cullen, which kind of cool looking. And this is when he's rebooted in the 90s. Which, again, I don't know. They like fight monsters and stuff in the DC universe, is what I guess it is. So it's kind of like maybe like Supernatural or something. It's in the DC universe. Peacemaker, which I kind of glad I got this book. It's a cool cover, and with Peacemaker being in the Suicide Squad with James Gunn coming out, I probably will hold on to this because I've only bought this for 10 cents, but who knows? Maybe it goes up in value. I don't care. Just I think it's a cool cover, and I'm very interested in this Peacemaker character. I think he could be a fun character. I never heard of this Power Company. This is by Kurt Busiek, who is known best for Astro City and Tom Grummett. Cool team. So we'll see what this is. It looks like a DC super team that they basically tried out for a couple minutes. The movie adaptation of Red Sonja, and that looks like it's supposed to be the Arnold Schwarzenegger, but not as Conan, as the character in Red Sonja. But that's kind of cool to have that. Neil Adams, famous 70s artist, on his book. This is called Revengers, The Ultimate Man, Megalith. This comic book is actually in fairly nice condition for being from the 80s. Very bright looking. I think it might be worth checking out for the price that I bought it. 2 issues of Kung Fu Fighter, Richard Dragon. This shows you the obscurity of characters of like someone who could. I think this is like an Iron Fist like character from the looks of it. Again, watch them pull from the minds of these comic books in the future. Ripley's Believe It or Not, True Ghost Stories. That's had a painted cover. This is a gold key book from the 70s. Robotech is a cartoon from Japan, and DC did a comic book of it. Interestingly, what's interesting to me is this was slightly before Transformers. ROM Space Knight, that's cool. An old issue of Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. I really like that cover, actually. That's a cool cover. And I think this is a reprint issue, too, when I looked into it earlier. Shaman's Tear by Mike Grell. So he's kind of like a Native American superhero. This was when he was doing it under Image, when Image was still doing superheroes back in the early 90s. She, I believe that's how it's pronounced, S-H-I, She. And this is, I think it looks like more of a source book, or like a kind of like gives you a kind of update of what the storyline was at the time. She was kind of a samurai type ninja character that Billy Tucci created. Suicide Squad from the early 2000s by Giffen. Very different team than what than what we'll see in the new movie. Tarzan versus Predator. That's cool. Come on. I finally was able to pick these up. Really excited about these. Thunderbolts. This is a Marvel super villains disguising themselves as superheroes. I don't know at this point in the run if they are now just superheroes and not supervillains, but I've never got a chance to really read this comic book. I've always thought it looked cool, and Mark Bagley's one of my favorite artists. Spider-Man universe, so I'm looking forward to that. Time Masters by DC, which I think is kind of Booster Gold and those kind of characters. Uncanny X-Men -1 when Marvel did like a -1 month when it was flashbacks to like the past of prior to the origins of the Marvel Universe, with like back of this story like being about a young Professor X. An issue of Mark Silvestri drawing X-Men, so pick that up. That's a cool cover by Mike Grell, Warlord. That's another one of these characters that basically like fighting in a world where it's like kind of like Kazar and Savage Land, where it's dinosaurs and fantasy characters and just kind of really cool. Another issue of Warlord. I am a Disney fan, and I know that we're sweaty heroes, but I unabashedly collect Uncle Scrooge. So these are some gold key Uncle Scrooge. Famous artist Carl Barks probably did this story. Carl Barks created Uncle Scrooge, and this is an older Uncle Scrooge. I'm not sure if that's Carl Barks. War That Time Forgot. Again, I'm really obsessed with dinosaurs fighting people. That's always cool. And then we got Wildstorm Universe. This video took me over 10 minutes, so I'm not going to show you what else I got over this week. But here's my Sweaty Heroes bulk list of bargain bins. This is where I'm encouraging you. Go to some bargain bins that you can find $1, 10 for $1, 3 for $1, wherever it is. Go find them, and you'll find some great gems like this. Talk to you soon.